Hello, everybody. Comments are now open. I'm keeping an eye out. Um, Welcome back to 14 Days of Christmas. I'm so excited to be here with you guys as always. We do have a few days left, so definitely get your questions in now. We will be out of office for Christmas time during the holidays, so I will try to pop in and out as much as I can, but I'm going to take my days off. I hope you guys do too and enjoy your time with your families. So we've gone through prepping our quiz funnel, and then we went through the quiz. We did our personality types, titles and tagline, questions, results, how to find support at Interact. We went through your opt-in form, how to integrate your email marketing platform, and then we went into your emails and your welcome nurture series. We then went into implementation and promotion, which was yesterday. So lots of information that we've had so far. I've had some great questions that I've really enjoyed talking with you guys. It's also helping me figure out what I can give you guys more trainings on. So if you ask me, or if you ask me a question and you see me pop in there and say something like, are you interested in seeing this? Feel free to let me know. That's kind of why I'm asking it, just to see if we should do a training on that specifically. But hopefully so far this has helped you guys throughout the process of creating a quiz. It's nice to hear that some of you maybe felt a little discouraged, but this was really helpful in actually continuing the process. So I'm really excited to hear that, and I'm excited to see what your quizzes look like. So now that we've gone through the whole quiz, I'm sure you guys will still have questions on that. So please don't hesitate to ask, and also don't hesitate to ask for feedback as well. Now we're going to talk more about post-quiz stuff. So today what I'm going to cover is some extra features that we have in the builder that you may or may not use. And then tomorrow we'll go into understanding your analytics. Since this is just a full 14 days, it will kind of fast forward that process a little bit, but I want you guys to be able to understand how to read your analytics and how your quiz is doing. So by the time you do get to that point where you should start paying attention to it, you already kind of know what that entails and what it should look like. Also, if you are watching, please say hello. And yeah, if you have any questions, ask me. The last day will be pretty open. I'm mostly going to go over some pricing plans of ours in case you're wondering like what type of plan you should be on. Maybe you are looking into upgrading sometime soon, so we'll talk a little bit about that and any last minute questions that you guys have, and then we'll have maybe some space to talk about some resources that we have. Also, heads up, I'm noticing that my lights are going out, so if it looks a little darker on here, I'm sorry. All right, cool. So some tech tips in the builder. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Where is it? Here we go. So there are some ones that I really want to pinpoint in here for you guys to know, so that way you are comfortable with what you are seeing in the builder. I'm just going to choose this quiz since it's the first one on there. This is a template, not one that I actually created. But some of the stuff that I'm going to go over are really important to just, using the software in general. Sorry, my lights are really going out. Let me know also if you could see where I click my button. I'm going to be focusing a lot on these 3 buttons in the top right-hand corner. I wonder if I can, I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit. Let me see if I could do that. I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe zoom in. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can actually see the button. I think my face is kind of covering it, so I want to make sure that you guys can see it. Otherwise, if you are following along in the builder, that would be helpful too, so that way you know which buttons I'm talking about. I think the zooming in helped. So I'm looking at these 3 buttons in the top right corner, and the reason why I want to point these out specifically, I know I've covered them briefly over the past several days of this training, but they are super important and they're very useful. So this first button is actually a preview button, and the reason why this is important is because when you send out your quiz, maybe for somebody to check out or test or anything like that, it will pull those into your analytics. So if you want people to preview your quiz or maybe get a feel for what people think about it, you can definitely use the preview mode and copy this URL So that way it doesn't hinder your analytics, but it still follows the same process. So they can still take the quiz, they'll still get their result, and they can also still opt in. So that's the only really caveat with this is they will still opt in and they will go through your email sequence. They might be subscribed. So I would just let people know like, hey, I do want to also test out the emails that I'm sending out to people after they take the quiz. So do you mind that you'll be on my email list? Usually I would recommend just letting people know if that's okay with them so they know they are going to get put on there while they're testing this out. So that's a good thing to kind of keep in mind. You'll know you're in this space if you see this, you're currently viewing in preview mode. If you copy this URL and you send it out to people and they click into it, it'll look similar to how you can view the direct link to our quiz, but it will still have the same warning that this is preview mode. Now, I will say be careful that you don't send this link out to actually promote your quiz because it won't capture those analytics. I'm going to go ahead and close that. The next button that I want to point out is save and exit, and also this publish button. So there's a huge difference between the two. Every time you make a tweak in your quiz, it is going to automatically save it. But say, you're editing your quiz, you're very much still in the editing phase, and you're not going to put this out anytime soon, you can totally just click save and exit and it will save it within the platform. And so that way, the idea is when you get back to it, you're going to be at the same spot. That's going to be an important thing if you are tweaking your quiz once it's already out and promoted, but you're not ready to quite launch it yet, and you don't want people to see those edits, or you're not entirely sure about those edits, you can definitely keep using the save and exit button. But that is the difference between that and the publish button. The publish button is going to be your quiz is ready to go. If you send this out to people, you want them to see the latest version, you have to click this button. So every time you're in here and you make those tweaks and you're like, yep, this is exactly how I want it to be, always click the publish button. If you don't, it won't push those changes live and people will take, an earlier version of your quiz, I guess you could say. So that's super important in that respect. Oh, hi, Jesse. I know these earrings are really beautiful. I wonder where this image is from, because I feel like it must be one of those kind of cultural earrings. Sorry, now I'm just rambling. But anyway, so yes, so these three buttons are super important to keep an eye on. Always hit the publish button. I can't say that enough. And when you do hit the publish button, it will give you out a warning. I believe I showed it to you guys yesterday when we were touching in on this. But yeah, it's going to let you know like, hey, this is going to put your changes public. So if you're ready for these to be public, make sure you do hit publish. But if you're not ready for it to be public, tongue twisters, you want to click save and exit. Awesome. Let me zoom a little bit back out so we can get a regular view again. Another one that I want to point out in here, sorry, I was just looking at my notes to make sure I have everything in the right spot. So another thing that I want to point out in here are going to be these buttons on the side. I think I did touch a little bit on it as we had been going through, but I just want to give it a little bit more time for me to go over with you guys. So the first one's going to be social settings, which is pretty much when you share or when somebody shares your quiz on social media, what do you want it to look like? Do you want to give them the option to share it on social media straight from your quiz, like a direct button, or how do you want that to look? There's going to be some settings in here, so definitely read through them. Everything is just kind of a check mark or not a check mark, and where you need to be kind of brought up about a point for this, it will do it. So as you can see, this warning came up like, hey, you made unsaved changes. Be sure to click save by clicking save at the bottom of the page, which yes, anytime you see a save button within the builder, click save. That part probably won't auto save. Okay, cool. So below that, we'll see which social share buttons do you want on your quiz. Right now, we offer these three, which is Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And pretty much what that looks like is when they get to your results, they'll have the little logos for Facebook and Twitter. In this case, that's the ones that I checked. If you included LinkedIn, it would include LinkedIn as well. And then below that is also a pretty big one to keep an eye out for, because now it's asking you, where do you want it on your quiz? So the big one is going to be in the results page, mainly because when people do get to their result, the idea is for them to share it around, so that way other people who might not see your quiz will see your quiz, and now it's being shared organically. So you can have these buttons show above the result image, above the result description, or below the result description. Now keep in mind, if you are redirecting your quiz results, this wouldn't apply, because this only shows up on our quiz platform. Once you redirect, they're being taken out of the quiz. To kind of battle that, you can also share this, or have in the buttons to share it throughout the quiz, so you can put it on the left side or the right side of the quiz. I don't really have any numbers on that, if anyone's curious on how many times it's been shared through there, if you have it throughout the quiz, or if you should leave it for the results. I've mostly seen it in the results, but pretty much just test it out and see what happens. Below that, you'll also see a social share link. And this is just pretty much when somebody shares your quiz, where do you want them to link to? So it's kind of, I guess the best way to put it is more of like a redirect kind of idea. So if you share the link to your quiz, or if you include the social share buttons in your quiz, what we're going to pull is that direct URL for the Try Interact link for your quiz that I showed you guys yesterday. But in this case, maybe you have your quiz embedded into a landing page on your site. You would then paste that link into here. And just kind of keep in mind, you do have to type in HTTPS when you are including that link. And then just making sure there's no spaces at the top here when you do paste that in there. You can also include a social share image if you want a specific image to be shared. Usually what it'll do though is it'll grab the cover image that you have for that quiz. And then the social share heading. So this one's kind of a fun one because you can pretty much say what you want it to, and what it'll already do is say share your results, but you can have it say something else. And then below that, when somebody does share it, you can have it say something specific. Otherwise, it'll automatically pull to say the result they got for your quiz title, and you can make it say something, sorry, let me back up. It'll say I got what their result is for that quiz title, but you can change the I got part. And so you can say something like my superhero is, or, my design style is, my jewelry style is, and so on. Hopefully that makes sense. And then at the bottom here, of course, make sure you click save. Another tab that I want to point out in the builder is conversion tracking. So this is going to be available starting on our growth plan. This is pretty much for you to be able to use Facebook Pixels and Google Analytics. Oh, sorry, I need to adjust my chair. So to do this part, it's pretty straightforward, but we do have the directions linked in here, and you can also find it in our help center if you're already in the help center. But Facebook Pixels if you're using Facebook ads, and then Google Analytics if you have your quiz embedded on your website, or in a page on your website. We do give options for GDPR compliancy in here as well, similar to the opt-in form. Per usual, we can't legally advise on how to use this or if you should use it or not. So you definitely want to consult your local laws or a lawyer if you can. But we do give the option to have GDPR compliancy in here. You can enter a consent message. So pretty much when they get that ad, it's going to let them know like, hey, this is being tracked. And then if you want them to accept or not, you can change what that button will say. Otherwise, it will say accept. And then same as always, click save where you can. The other feature that I want to point out in here, which will back us up a little bit because I know I briefly mentioned it when we were talking about questions on that day, but what I do want to bring up is branching logic. So if you, sorry, that motion might have been really quick. I'm looking back over here on the left-hand menu, and I'm going to click questions to reach branching logic. This is a template, so it already has all these questions populated. But if you scroll down towards the bottom, you're going to see this button, and it's going to be an option for branching logic, which is, some people might know it as conditional logic. So if we turn this on, then it's going to take us to the branching logic map. This is pretty similar to what you might see in your email marketing platforms when you create workflows. It's very visual, but I'm going to teach you how to use it right now. And I know somebody had a question on it, so let me know if you're watching and if you have any specific questions on how this works. This is a more advanced option for people if you are looking for something really specific. Branching logic is really useful in for times when you want to lead people through a specific pathway through your quiz, or if you're trying to filter people out. This is a great way to do it, and it's pretty much just they get the next question based off of how they answered the previous question. The biggest thing to remember when you're using branching logic is you do have to fill out all of your questions and answer choices before doing this part. That's why it shows up at the bottom. And the reason for that is because everything is just a drag and drop. So I want to pull my first question here. And then it's also, if this is your first time using it, it will show you kind of how to use it. These help pop-ups are going to pop up for you. But right here, pretty much what it's saying is, okay, so you dragged this question in. You do want to make sure you're linking where it goes. So this is that start quiz button. I want them to go to this very first question. From there, I'm going to pull question, if I can grab it, 2. And for this, pretty much what I'm doing is if they choose this answer choice, I want them to go to the besties question. This answer choice, also the besties question. And also this one to the besties question. However, if they answer these last two, then I want them to go to this partners question. And now they are branched to different parts of the quiz. And from here, I might take them through different pathways of the quiz depending on how they answer these. And then once, say for example, I already did all my questions, I mapped everything out. Now we're looking at the results. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can do it based on correlation, so based on the quiz logic if you're using a personality style quiz, or you can do it based off of scoring if you're using the scored quiz. You can also force results, so it'll also list the results here, so you want to fill those out as well. So let's say we want to force the result. They go through this pathway. I also want to link here, so that way they go straight to that result. Or maybe I want it the whole thing based off of correlations, which is also an option. The one thing I will say to keep in mind here is make sure that if you drag stuff out, you're keeping an eye out where it goes, because if you do have questions floating around on the wayside over here, it will break your quiz. And not break as in like you'll never get to use it again. It's just going to say, hey, something is not mapped here. So you want to make sure that you find those and you either link it or you delete the whole box from the map. So that way your quiz works properly. I know this is like a lot, so any questions on this, please let me know. But essentially, this is what you're doing. You're just kind of linking people through specific pathways of the quiz. You can either force results and say, if they go through this exact pathway, I want them to get this result, or you can do it based off of correlations or the scored. This doesn't really work for the assessment style quiz because that one's all, right or wrong answers. It wouldn't really make sense to do conditional logic. Once this is done, you do want to make sure you save map and go back, but you can also preview your quiz from here as you go through it. So I'm going to go ahead and click save because I'm done here. And then you'll see that it is left on. If you need to go back and edit it, there is an edit button and it'll take you back to the map. Also something to point out in here, if you are thinking about like, hey, oh shoot, I dragged like this question, I didn't mean to. If you click these 3 dots, that is a menu button, so you can unlink, edit, or delete. And deleting doesn't mean you're deleting the question from your quiz. It just means you're deleting it from the map. So I'll use this one as an example. So you'll see that it's still available in here. It's just unlinking it and taking it off the map. Nice. So I'm going to turn this off for now. I think that's everything in this part of the quiz that I wanted to, oh, that reminds me. I know we had another question for this too, so I will go over it one more time. But if we go back to our left menu and we go into results, this is where that redirect button is going to go. And redirect is just, you don't want to use Interact's results pages. You want to create your own landing pages and redirect people to that part of your site. Sorry, it got so dark. So with this, you still want to label each result, because when you're setting up the logic for your quiz, you want to make sure you're sending people to the right result, because they're still going to use that. They just won't see it from Interact. But you're going to click redirect results here, and you can either redirect all, or you can pick and choose which ones you are redirecting. So you have that option. You can use regular Interact results for that, or you can redirect them to a landing page and paste that link in here. And then same thing, you want to make sure you click save. All right, so that's pretty much everything in the quiz. And oh, I know I keep saying there's one more thing, because we did launch this new feature. So if you guys are just hopping in here, we do have a new best practices feature. Hopefully you got my email today on this update. But pretty much as you go through the quiz, we do now have all the tips that I went over in these videos, and we also have blog posts that we linked to that we would think would be helpful for that specific part of the quiz. So as you go through, you know, the cover page, the questions, and the results, this is all in there, and it walks you through step by step how to create your quiz. Super awesome. And you can open and close it by this little light bulb over here. All right, I'm really done with that now. So some other things that I wanted to point out, and pretty much just how to use Interact in general. So when you're in here, there are some things obviously that you can see. For example, if you've been using Interact as long as I have, you'll see I have a million quizzes in here. So you can actually use this search bar to search for the quiz that you're looking for. Another option for you is to is to sort everything by the tag, the title, or the date. Title is going to be alphabetical order. But with tags, what's really cool about that, all of mine are down below here, but pretty much what they'll do is you can say, you can actually see what I used for this. So I tagged this one as an assessment style quiz because it's not a style that I use quite often or frequently. So I wanted to make sure I knew, hey, by the way, this one's an assessment style. All of my other tags are more for stuff like, okay, this was for a content piece that we put this quiz in a blog post. These were all meant for that. This was meant to use as a demo. So I specifically curated a couple of my quizzes for a demo version of how you can use the software. I worked with a partner once where we did a joint giveaway, so this was for that. And then this one, I did like 2 versions of a quiz, so I tagged it. This one scored and this one's personality. Those are just ideas of how you can use tags. I've seen a lot of people use it for, you know, what client they're working with, you know, what that maybe business was, maybe what that niche is, things like that, or where they're placing these quizzes. In order to add a tag, I'm going to go back to that jewelry quiz. I know I have a ton in here. Sorry, guys. To add a tag, you just click this little plus tag button, and you can choose which color you want it to be, enter that label, and then save. So for this, I'm just going to make one up and just say 14 days, save, and now you can see that tag there. Another thing to kind of keep an eye out on here is we do have menu buttons on the right side of each quiz. This is going to be for if you want to preview your quiz, duplicate your quiz, or delete your quiz. Duplicating your quiz is pretty useful if you're doing testing. You're trying to see like, hey, if I put this one out as a Facebook ad, is it actually going to work? And I maybe do this one organically, stuff like that. Deleting a quiz, if you're going to delete your quiz, please, please, please be sure you're ready to delete your quiz, mainly because we cannot recover it once it's been deleted. And we make sure that you're sure by asking you to type the word delete in here, and it has to be in all caps actually, before you can confirm the deletion. So once you click this confirm delete button, we can't get that data back, we can't get those analytics, and we can't get that quiz, any of that content back. So heads up about that. Some other buttons in here that you might want to take a look at if you're interested are create a new quiz. And then if you ever want to look at your account settings and things like that, that's going to be in here. And the reason why I point this out specifically is because I know that a lot of people might work in teams. So you can have one Interact account and then have multiple people as a team member on there. So in order to do that, you would go in here, click add team member, send that person an email, and then give them their role. Are they just an editor, or do they have administrative permissions, which means they can play around in the account settings and all that stuff. Keep an eye out for this if you're already an Interact user. If somebody sends you, or you send somebody who has their own account, an invite to add to your team, what this is going to do if you accept is it's going to merge both accounts and all the quizzes will be in there. A way to kind of go around this is to do that +1 +2 option I showed you guys a couple days ago, or use a totally different email address. So heads up about that. Another thing to keep an eye out in terms of tech tips of how to use our software. Another one that I really want to point out is connected accounts. So you can actually connect one account for each email marketing platform inside of Interact. You just can't do two or more of each one. So for example, you can't have 2 active campaigns or 2 Awebers, but you can have 1 active campaign, 1 Aweber, and so on. If you ever have that issue where you edited your segments and you're like, now it's not pulling into my quiz, you would want to go over here, completely disconnect from your connected accounts, and then reconnect through your quiz and go back and do it that way and set it back up. I think that's everything. If you ever want to go back to your dashboard, say, kind of look at what I just did there. If you like are playing around in team, for example, to go back to your dashboard, you just click the I right back here. If you are in create a new quiz and you realize I don't want to create a new quiz, to go back to your dashboard, you just click the I logo over there. Awesome. So that's actually all I have for today, you guys. I just wanted to give you guys some extra tips on how to use the software. Tomorrow, I'm going to go over analytics, which is super exciting because now we're at the point of, okay, so my quiz is up. It's been running. What do I do now? What is it supposed to look like? What are the benchmarks that I should try to hit? And stuff like that. And then on the last day, sadly, I can't believe it's already over almost. But on the last day, I will go over pricing plans again. Any questions that you guys have that maybe are, last minute straggling or you just got to, I can answer there as well. And yeah, that's all I got. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.